Today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest weapons that you have against the devil, which you can use right now and be able to fight sin, temptation, get closer to God, and be able to not only completely transform spiritually, but physically as well, and it's fasting. Because you need to understand that fasting is exactly like taking a shower. Think about it. You wouldn't go more than, 1, maybe 2 days without showering if you're a little bit disgusting. You wouldn't go more than 2 days without showering, and it should be exactly the same with fasting, because I want to start this off with Matthew 6:16, where it says, when you fast, do not look gloomy like the hypocrites do. And why is this verse important? It says, when you fast. What does this mean? Jesus expects us to fast like almost every single day. It doesn't say if you fast, it says when you fast. Okay, so Jesus wants us to fast, and you should ask yourself, okay, why is that? Well, because not only are you taking that kind of spiritual shower where you're not putting anything in your body, exactly like Jesus in the desert for 40 days. He didn't eat, he was fasting, he was following his Father's will, and if he did that for 40 days, then you can do that every single day for maybe like 24 hours. It's not that big of a deal. And you need to understand, again, another verse, Matthew 4:4. It says, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Okay, so fasting actually makes us closer to God because it exposes everything. You know, when you're a little bit hungry, you kind of get more irritated. Your defense barrier that food gives you, that comfort that you have, is completely gone. And it exposes your real emotions when you are without food. How are you going to react to that one comment from that one friend or coworker when you haven't ate for the last 20 hours? Are you going to give in to your mouth and be irritated and maybe curse at your friend or your coworker because he pissed you off because you haven't ate for so long? Well, most likely. But when you actually start fasting every single day, you are able to control your mouth. You're able to control the words that come from your mouth, and also you're able to control the emotions that come from you. So let's say you feel irritated when you haven't gone without food. Maybe you haven't fasted for more than a day. I've done it for 7 days, and it was like a life-changing experience. I got so much closer to God. But you need to understand, when you're fasting, not only does prayer feel more like spiritually connected to God, you feel like God is hearing you better, but you're able to cleanse your system. And you shouldn't use fasting as something to be kind of like, oh, you know what, Jesus, I am going to fast today for like the next 2 days in order for you to hear my prayer better. It shouldn't be like this. But you need to understand, God wants you to fast. He knows that this is what's good for you. You shouldn't be controlled by anything. And it says in 1 Corinthians 6:12, I will not be dominated by anything. And I'm citing verses right now because I've especially written those things down. So you understand that food is a scam. Like, you hear that we need to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and this is how humans are supposed to live, blah, blah, blah. But you need to understand, breakfast is a scam. If you didn't know this, breakfast wasn't actually a thing before like the 19th century. This is when bacon sales were actually extremely low, and there was this great marketer. I can't remember his name, but he wanted to increase the sales of bacon and eggs especially. So he thought about it, and he was like, okay, so we need to increase the sales. How do we do that? we are going to run a marketing campaign where we're going to say in all the newspapers, on television, everywhere, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You've probably heard that before. And they started advertising breakfast as like the one thing that you need to do every single day. And also, they started paying doctors to tell their clients, yes, clients especially, to tell people that maybe they're having like some kind of gut problem, they're having some kind of an issue, and they tell them, they were giving them money in order for them to say, okay, the problem is that you aren't eating breakfast. Start eating bacon and eggs. Start eating cereal. Yes, cereal especially was like the one thing that they wanted to promote. It was cereal, bacon, and eggs. Those three things they wanted to increase the sales. So they started paying doctors. They started posting in the newspapers. They started promoting it on television. And this was like a huge marketing scheme to where like now people are so brainwashed that they will raise their kids and give them like cereal for breakfast. Like sugar. Sugar is something that all Christians should avoid. And I cannot cite you any Bible verses, but sugar is extremely bad for your body. And as a bodybuilder, like sugar will help you get through your workouts. It's going to like give you this little energy boost and give you all this dopamine. But you need to understand, not only is sugar one of the greatest drugs and most spread drugs that we have, but it has these crazy effects on the brain that you shouldn't have, because God like didn't make us eat. He didn't create our brain for us to eat so much sugar. And imagine like your kid eating cereal for breakfast. That is basically poison, simply because someone wanted to increase the sales of cereal and make more money. How are we going to make more money? Well, we are going to abuse the human biology. We're going to put a lot of sugar. It's addicting. It gives you these great spikes. It's exactly like a drug, and it's going to be great. You need to understand, your body does not need any sugar. What does sugar do to your body? It gives you this energy boost. If you don't go out and use it, it stores in your body as fat. This is what sugar does. You either use the energy and maybe go for a run, and okay, like sugar is kind of okay, like kind of okay in that case, but most of the time you eat sugar and you do nothing. And it stores in your body as fat. And you know, fat is not good. You want to be shredded. So also you need to understand, society and the people who control the world and run all these marketing schemes and false ideas, they don't want you to be close to Jesus, because they know the truth. They know what will happen if a lot of Christians actually become very dedicated to their religion and to what the Bible says and to what Jesus preaches. If that were to happen, like, so many people would rebel. You need to understand, we live in like a godless society. I don't want to give examples of like something that comes to mind immediately is like the Olympic Games, like mocking the last supper like they're mocking Jesus in so many ways. Like, society doesn't want you to know the truth and to know that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. They don't want you to know that, because this is what's going to expose all the dirty things that they're doing and abusing your human psychology, biology, because you need to understand, there's so many scientists that are being paid so much money and nutritionists that want to specifically abuse your brain. And when you go in the supermarket, you can take a look at this. The supermarket is full of poison. Everything is poison. Everything is poisonous. There are only like 5 foods that you can eat which are not poisonous. It's like meat, eggs, milk, cheese, and like everything that comes from animals and from nature and from things that Jesus created is good. But when you take a look at something like some process, everything in the supermarket is processed. And if you're actually serious about Jesus and about yourself and about the way you look, you are going to start reading and thinking very carefully about what you put into the holy temple of the Spirit, because your body is the temple of God. God lives within you, so be careful what you feed Jesus. How are you going to feed him poison? You are not only feeding yourself poison, you are ruining the temple of God. Everything in the supermarket is processed. They want you to be addicted to food. This is why so many people are fat. This is why so many people have like addiction to sugar, to processed food, to chips, to Coca-Cola, which at one point even had cocaine leaves, like cocaine in the drink, in order for them to make more and more money. Because you need to also understand, food is basically poison if you're not fasting. If you're not being disciplined and strict with your diet, food is poisoning you. It's getting you further away from Christ. When you have that brain fog after you've eaten like a huge meal, you are further away from Christ. You are not being able to think clearly. So fasting is exactly like taking a shower. When you're fasting, your mind is clear. You're able to think clearly, and you're able to make the right decisions. Your prayers feel more clear. Everything feels better. And again, I am a person who has gone and fasted for 7 days. And that might not sound like a lot, but I'm explicitly saying this because it was like a huge experience for me to go 7 days without food. And 7 days is quite a lot, but you need to understand every single day, at least 20 to 24 hours should be your bare minimum. You're strong, you're disciplined, you're a Christian. Again, Christian is an extremely strong word. You have Jesus within you. You can go 20 or 24 hours without food. Come on, let's be real. Don't give yourself excuses. Oh, you know what, I'm on a diet, and this one guy says that you should eat in order to get your protein in. Shut up. I myself, as a bodybuilder, am telling you that fasting is more important, and not only will it make you leaner, but if you're actually serious, diet becomes harder when you're fasting and you make more progress. Because, for example, you need to get 200 grams of protein in one meal. Because you're fasting for 20 to 24 hours, this means that you get 1 or maybe 2 meals if you're being serious. And this means that you have to get like 150 to 200 grams of protein in order to rebuild your muscles. Okay, so this means that I need to be more strict. This means that I need to be careful with what I put into my body. This means that I only can allow myself to put animal-based foods in my diet. This means you're following the biblical diet of eating only those 5 foods that I listed. I listed only 4. There is like a 5th one which doesn't come to me right now, but eggs, meat, milk, cheese, and like maybe you can allow yourself, if you like, fish, or I'm trying to think of what's in my fridge, or maybe fruits. Fruits aren't that bad. Fruits have natural sugars, which you can use, but again, fruits are good because you cannot like eat too much sugar. You're not going to eat like 10 bananas in one sitting. But for example, 1 banana is good. 2 bananas is like kind of overkill, but it's fine to eat 2 bananas and, for example, go for a workout. You're going to have fuel for that workout. Understand that sugar is bad. You're only using it as fuel, only using it before your workouts. So what I do explicitly when I'm fasting every single day is that I only eat twice a day. Before my workout and after my workout. Why do I do that? Before my workout, in order to have enough glycogen and to fuel the workout and to have enough energy to push through and completely give it my absolute all, And after my workout, in order to fuel my body with protein, in order for the muscles to recover. This is how every single Christian should be eating. There is no, like, you cannot debate me on this. This is, if you want to have a strong body, if you want to be closer to Jesus, if you don't want to fall into sin and temptations that much, and you want to have a clear mind, and you don't want to give in to the devil, well, fasting is extremely important. This is the way you should be eating. Psalm 35:13, it says, I humbled my soul with fasting. I understood what it's like to go without food and to go through the pain that Jesus had to go through in the desert. A tiny bit of the pain that Jesus felt for those 40 days. Imagine not going without food for 40 days. I personally cannot imagine that, but Jesus had to go through that. And do you not think that you can honor your Father every single day by not eating for a little bit? Do you not think that you're strong enough to not eat for a little bit and actually get abs and have like the body that you have always dreamed of? Seeking God is more important than food. This is what you need to understand. God is more important than food, than your comfort, than everything that you're doing. And I'm not going to go that much into the like bodybuilding aspect of not eating food. Like, I'm not going to list you all the benefits of fasting, but because we're trying to talk about Christ more, but fasting is going to get you shredded and is going to get you closer to Jesus. So understand this. Breakfast is a scam, sugar is poison, everything is processed, they're trying to control you, the devil wants you to be always not thinking clearly and be in that brain fog that you have after you eat a lot of carbohydrates. Once you have those 5 things like imprinted on your mind, I'm telling you, go out for the next 3 days and eat only once a day after your workouts. Eat only once after your workouts, and I'm telling you, you are going to see such a huge difference. And I challenge you to do this. Go out for the next 3 days, eat only once a day, limit yourself, don't like eat once a day and completely stuff your face with 10,000 calories. Eat the same amount of calories that you eat every single day when you're cutting, for example, 2,000 calories. Eat those 2,000 calories in one sitting. Not only is the food going to taste better, but you are going to notice all the benefits of fasting. Not only is your prayer going to feel much better, but you are going to feel all the pain of not eating food, and you're going to understand how much you actually need Jesus. And if you think that you cannot do this, this is too much of a challenge, blah, blah, blah. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. He is the way, the truth, and the life. When you're facing a struggle, just know Jesus is with you. You can do it all. If he fasted for 40 days, come on, man. Like, you can go 24 hours without food. Thank you for watching this video. Start fasting, and I'm telling you, your life will change. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe, because as you can see, I'm a small channel, and I'll see you next time. Expect redemption.